The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages that we cover. This week we'll be starting with Lee Hankins in Rush. Rush, what's rushing in Rush, Lee?
Well, good morning. It's good to have the opportunity to spend time and talk with everyone here. I want to start with expressing my appreciation to the board and members of the Rush Recreation and Park Association, our local Boy Scouts, our highway department, and all the residents who participated in our annual 15 Days of Spring, a community-wide cleanup event. We had a closing event on Saturday, April 25th, and celebrated 2 years as a Tree City. Earning this designation allows us to join with 3,500 other communities across the nation in recognizing the importance of trees for our personal health and well-being and the quality of life in our community. After a mailing mishap, our town spring newsletter was finally delivered to residents. The newsletter is filled with a wide range of activities and events for people of all ages. Many events are sponsored by our Rush Public Library. I encourage everyone to sign up for their online monthly newsletter. It makes it easier to review all the activities and register online. The library staff can also help you register. And now that the weather is better, there are many seasonal events that are scheduled at the 100-acre nature park to introduce residents to a wide variety of native plants, trees, and the role in supporting habitat for wildlife in our area. Last, I would like to encourage all Rush residents to become active members of our Rush Seniors Group. The group is open to residents 55 years and older. We meet every second Thursday of the month at the Rush Firehouse, where we get together and share a lunch. We also plan trips and events that members can participate in. It's a great way to meet other members of our community, and a reminder to all residents that they are always welcome to stop in to my office or call me with their questions, concerns, and complaints. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Lee. Now it's over to Joe Alati. Joe, what's moving in Mendon?
Hey, Chris. Hello, everybody. Last Friday, Amy and I attended the Monroe County Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan. It was a training we had on Zoom. It was very interesting. It was a good introduction into those plans, which are really critical for us to understand and have under control and know what we're going to do in the case of the kinds of emergencies that we see these days. There could be anything from a tornado to a cyber attack that can affect us here at Town Hall or affect our residents. So we want to be completely prepared for that. We're going to be attending a emergency management training in June at the Monroe County Emergency Operations Center. And we're looking forward to that to help enhance our understanding of emergency management. And we're also going to use this information to rewrite our emergency management protocol, which is somewhat outdated. So we definitely need to work on all of these different manuals. I want to point out that Rebecca Cruiser, one of our board members, she's been instrumental in helping us stay current with all of these manuals and helping create a schedule for us to work through and update everything from our policy and procedure manuals, our employee handbooks, our emergency management protocol, and things like that. So I appreciate that, Rebecca. Also, last Friday, I attended the Monroe County Supervisors Association monthly meeting. We heard from two experienced town supervisors who spoke to the Monroe County group about assessments and zoning, and that information was invaluable. I mean, I can sit in my office and read a lot of the different zoning laws and things like that, and brush up on assessments, but hearing from experienced people is really fantastic. So I really value going to those meetings that we have once a month. On Monday, I met with Drew Sauer from the HFLM, I'm sorry, Honeoye Falls Mendon Historical Society. I received a tour of the museum and I really was blown away. I have to tell you, I just couldn't believe how wonderful this museum is. I want to encourage people to go to the museum. They're open Sundays from 2 to 4, I believe, are the hours, and volunteers work that museum. And I have to give Drew and his volunteers a shout out. These people have done amazing work in this museum and documenting our history and have an amazing presentation there. When you go on the tour, I think you'd be really impressed if you haven't been there. There's things from going back to Native Americans, going way back, I think it was 1400 to 1600 in that era, and artifacts from that, and to the settlers that first built and developed Mendon and put it on the map. I can't say enough good about the work Drew and his volunteers are doing. So I encourage people to go. School trips. I know the schools take students over there, and it's wonderful. It really, really is. I'm so impressed. I'd never been there before. I'd gone to a couple of their classes, but they didn't take place in the museum itself. So it was my first time seeing it, and it's amazing. Rick, I'm sure you agree. Rick and I are working on doing some updates on that building, and so we need to make sure the roof is solid and everything's working well to keep that museum functioning. On Tuesday, I took part in a meeting with a national fitness campaign representative where we explored the possibility of a new wellness hub along the Lehigh Valley Trail or possibly out at Selma Road. To this end, we're going to talk further about the possibility of an MVP Healthy Cities grant to secure $30,000 to $35,000 in initial funding. That could help us leverage larger state grants for the project. The applications, if they prove successful, will not be binding to the town financially at this point. It's definitely something worth looking into and looking for ways to benefit our community with an emphasis on health, walking, bike riding, and exercise. So you'll be hearing more about that as things develop on it. On Tuesday, I met with a Verizon rep and discussed the idea of switching our town phone service and taking a look at some modern technology, upgrading here at a substantially lower cost. So that's something I will continue to do for the town of Mendon, is find ways to save money. On Wednesday, we had a solemn and moving day. An outpouring of community members gathered at the Honeoye Falls Cemetery to honor the life and service of Captain Donald Menz with a special military honors ceremony. And it was really quite beautiful. It was really well done. And I'm sure the family was quite proud of that and of that service. Don's a longtime Honeoye Falls resident, known to many as Don or Avery. He went by, and he served active duty in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger. He later continued his service in the Army Reserves, and locally Don served as a dedicated rituals officer for the American Legion, Falls Post 664, right here in the village. He was a staple of our community parades and ceremonies. His presence and expertise will be profoundly missed. And our deepest condolences go out to the Menz family, whose roots in Honeoye Falls and Mendon span over a century. As we reflect on Don's lasting legacy of service to both our country and our community, please keep the Menz family on your mind and in your prayers. On Thursday, I engaged in a conversation on solar panels, which at times I know is considered a hot button issue with some. Nobody wants to see our green spaces covered by a sea of black panels, and I get that. But our energy costs are surging. Our electric cost is ever rising. Every one of us are experiencing this. This past winter, in particular, saw some really high cost for our from outside lighting to our energy cost here in all the town hall buildings. We have to find ways to offset and balance the insane cost of electricity. And here's what's happening for those of us that may not have been following how we got here. Um, you know, some have been told or think that our recently really cold winter is what's caused this spike in electric costs. And it's really not true. Back in 2013, we had a rash of very, very cold weather, and none of us saw our electric bills skyrocket the way they are right now. What the real cause of this is AI, Bitcoin, and the development of huge tech centers that are consuming a great deal of electricity to operate, and they're passing that cost on to all of us through our bills. We're paying for this in our monthly bills, and is legislation out there right now pending. There are some bills that will require these companies to generate their own electricity. And that should help and go a long way. I plan to do some research on that. I'll get some bill numbers, and I want to pass that on to our community. Give you a method for contacting our legislators and try to get that legislation moving right along. That could really help all of us. And we have a lot of rooftops on our town buildings. We can explore ways to lower our costs. So solar is definitely one way or one thing to consider. So I wanted to share that with all of you. Again, I'm open to feedback on that. I'd love to hear from people about that project. If you have ways that might help, or if you oppose it, whatever that is, I'm more than happy to hear what you have to say about it. I'm also excited about a potential new exercise class opportunity for our town senior citizens group. This is exactly the type of idea we love to support. It aligns with the town's focus on health and well-being for our residents. This year, we do have funds for something like this using ARPA money that is left over. This is the last year for it, but we can use that money for both seniors and children. And and that's what we've been doing. Michelle's been doing a great job at directing that money and making sure it goes to the right place. And so that's something we're looking at right now. And even if the funding isn't renewed by the federal government next year, which we don't expect it will be, we can look for ways to fund this class in the future for our seniors and have this continue. So it's something we'll explore for sure. There'll be more information coming about that as we move along in spring. I have to, on that note, I have to look into town insurance coverages. I've actually already started doing that, and for an exercise program, and using the community center for that. The community center is very popular and is booked up a lot, so that can present an issue. But once we move further along and make sure that we've got authorization to use these funds, we'll definitely get something in place and something going here. I want to mention we're looking for an instructor. If someone has the certification and wants to offer their services, something we can discuss and talk about. So please reach out to me on that. And let's see what else. I think that's about it. I want to commend Lee for helping me with that. They do offer exercise classes for seniors, and so he and I had talked, and I talked with a couple of other towns as well this week to learn and get some information on how they do it and what their requirements are, so that we can dot all our I's and cross all our T's on this. But that's it. That's all I have for this week. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. John Cates couldn't be here, but he did leave me this to read. John would like to remind John Cates, by the way, supervisor of the town of Lima. John would like to remind everyone that townwide cleanup dates are upcoming April 30th through May 2nd from 8 a.m. to noon. Reminder to residents that a permit is not required this year, but you may be asked to provide proof of residency when dropping off. One pickup load per household, including electronics, with a 3 TV max. Also coming up on May 2nd at the Lima Town Hall will be the Pumpkin Festival's pumpkin and sunflower seed distribution. If you think you have what it takes to grow a giant pumpkin, stop by and check it out. This is a coloring contest for children. The image is available on the town website for download under the Pumpkin Festival area. You can also use the search bar. Speaking of the website, Lima has undergone a redesign of the website, and the new site has been active for roughly 30 days. It looks and functions quite differently, and we understand not everything is likely to be perfect at this point. The idea was to make it more user-friendly as well as mobile-friendly, as the previous version was not. Water District number 5 is still going through the permitting approval stages. As soon as that is completed, it will be going out to bid. We understand it looks like there isn't much happening right now. It is still progressing. Some things are just out of our control, Lima's control. Plan and permitting approval is one example. Finally, John, like most of you, is looking forward to the warmer weather, but that comes like ticks and bees too is coming along with that. So make sure you are doing what you can to protect yourselves, your families, and your pets. If you have a bee allergy, it's a good time as any to make sure that your medicine is not expired and will still be effective when you need it. That's John Cates from the town of Lima. Now we're moving quickly over to Tim Schieffelin in West Bloomfield. Tim, what's wild and woolly in West Bloomfield?
Well, I'm wild, I'm woolly, and I'm getting acclimated to this new job. First, I'll apologize. I couldn't make the last get together. I had a busy schedule last time. However, I did bump into Joe at the Mendon Fire Department annual banquet. He was rocking that cool looking multicolored plaid blazer and gave a nice kudos and shout out to Dick. Oh, I mean, Rick Shipe, who celebrated 50 years. And John is an expert on anything. Just ask him. I've known John since I was probably 10 years old. Hey, Joe, Rick, did you know that the Honeoye Falls Historical Society building was once Everett Lewis's Studebaker dealership? Studebakers? Wow, who knew they sold Studebakers in Honeoye Falls? I did. Anyways, moving along here. Our last town board meeting, we had some Zoom difficulties, and thank gosh for a young man, young Mr. Caffo, and his cell phone. He saved us. He got that Zoom meeting back up, and people could participate and tune in. And then I'd like to give a shout out to the residents of West Bloomfield because they put it up on a YouTube platform. So now our residents can watch our town board meeting on the YouTube, so they can pick up what they missed in case they couldn't be there in person. We do expect that to move forward, and we are working here at the town to get our own YouTube channel and get our Zoom meetings up there in the future. So they'll be there for, I don't know, as long as the internet lasts. Moving along. Earth Day, April 22nd. We celebrated Earth Day here in West Bloomfield with the gift of a beautiful weeping cherry tree that was donated by the Gaffel and the Rivers family in honor of a young lady named Wara, who spent some time here in our community and unfortunately passed away. But there's a memorial tree now adorning the outside of our town hall. And in the next coming years, that ought to flower in a beautiful pink blossom in springtime, helping to celebrate this young lady's life and helping to make our town hall even more beautiful. And it accentuates our Prouty Park adjacent to our town hall. I think that's a great addition. So I'd really like to thank both those families and Bristol's Farm Market for coming and putting the tree in for them. Monday and Tuesday, I'll be down at the New York Association of Towns training in Canandaigua, right there on the lake. Myself, my town clerk, Brenda, and one of our town board members, Christy, we're all going to go down there and learn a little bit about finances and some of those other finer points of doing what we do here at the town board, the town clerk, and the town supervisor. I also want to give a shout out to the Smiths from the Sentinel newspaper. They're going to come to our West Bloomfield Historical Society, I believe, in May. Help me on this, Chris. I think May 5th. We'd love it if you could come out and experience our historical society. Our historical society is located on routes 5 and 20, just east of the Four Corners where Clover Street intersects with Route 5 and 20. And it's located in the former St. Joseph's Church building, and it's chock full of pertinent history for the local region. We even have some unique artifacts from the town of Mendon out there. Anybody heard of an ocarina? We got an ocarina and the mold it was made, and that came from the town of Mendon. You can learn more about that when you come and experience the Historical Society, and come check out the Smiths. Tim and Deb Smith do some great things. If you read any of their articles, they do a great job for the Sentinel. Fascinating things indeed. I've read about this guy named Joe Lottie in the Sentinel. They wrote a nice article about him, and they made my head swell even bigger than it looks on the screen, folks, when they wrote a nice article about me. This morning, I had a nice sit down with Andrea O'Sullivan from Canandaigua National Bank. She's helping me figure out how to move around some town money so we can earn a little interest. We can put some of these reserves to work for us, and we can anticipate expenditures that come along the way with our budget. And that's something I need to learn a little better, because my 27 years of business experience certainly helps me reconcile a checkbook. But it doesn't do much for the understanding of the budget, what we anticipate for expenses, what we have to be prepared for, and those oh-no's that come with 10 times the flow on Honeoye Creek that wash out all those terrible culverts and curb cuts. Wrapping things up, we are working on a solar law here in West Bloomfield. We want to get our solar law on the books and in place before our solar law moratorium ends. And what we're looking for is some common sense, and we're looking for some guidance. So when we do anticipate these larger projects coming into our community that want to build and construct solar, generating fields. I hate to call them farms because they really ain't growing much. We'd like to see them work for our community and be in places that don't impact the community in a negative way. We don't want to lose our rural character and our charm. We don't want to ruin any view sheds. I certainly don't want any of our residents waking up with glare in their windows. So we are really working hard. I've got 2 town board members working on that, Pete Thompson and Christy Mulhern. They're beating the bushes. They're getting information from adjacent communities like Lee, the town of Rush, John at the town and village of Lima. We've looked at the solar law they have down in Avon, and we'd like to kind of come up with something. It might be a little restrictive at first, but we certainly want to start with the protections for the residents and our sensitive areas. But we do want to embrace the ability to generate that renewable energy, because let's face it, we need it. And Joe hinted on that. That's going to be where we need to go in the future, I'm afraid. And this is a Republican talking about solar. Wow, the lightning is going to strike me down. That's about all I got. It's great to see all of you guys. We almost got the black color coordination down by, I think, osmosis. We're going to have to get you on the loop here, Chris. That bright red is just glaring away over there.
This is my uniform. So
yeah, we do.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Over to Rick. Rick, what's happening in Honeoye Falls?
Well, we'll get through this quick, Chris. This past Thursday evening, April 23rd, I had the extreme pleasure of attending and taking part in the Monroe County Youth Awards at Monroe Community College. As a county legislator, I was proud to stand with the Monroe County team to recognize so many incredible youths and youth advocates. I was also very proud to stand with 4 of our local kids who received awards: Rory Allison, Sam Yokel, Charlotte Staples, and Avi Youngblood, all incredible young kids. The Honeoye Falls Mendon community should be very proud of these local students and their accomplishments. And we certainly know they have the same type of awards in both Ontario and Livingston counties as well. And we're all blessed to have some incredible kids in our communities. As the Village of Honeoye Falls Board of Trustees, at the Honeoye Falls Village Board of Trustees meeting this past Monday evening, there were multiple public hearings conducted, but one was specifically about construction start times in the village. Code shows that construction start times begin at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. However, construction start times in the industry normally begin at 7 a.m. The village has long allowed construction start times to be at 7 a.m. and has generally not heard of complaints about this. As the Wolfsburger Park construction project has progressed, the village has heard some local concerns about the construction near the villager condominiums and the 7 a.m. start time. We, the village board, respect the concerns and opinions of those who do not agree with these start times. However, we also understand the need to have the construction process move forward as quickly as possible and also to follow what has been done for many years. The construction start time is not anything new or out of the norm. What this concern has indeed pointed out, and what has been pointed out to the village board by some of the complainants, is that our zoning code needs to be reviewed in full and updated. We do understand that the village zoning code needs to be consistent and support both our residents as well as business owners and developers. The process and code need to be concise and consistent. The village board and village staff are committed to a full review of the zoning code, which will take both time and financial support, but we will act on this to ensure our code meets needs and serves proper public purpose. This will not halt any projects or potential projects, but the ZBA and Village Board and Code Enforcement will take this review into consideration when hearing any project presentations. Thanks, Chris. That's what I've got for this week. Have a great week.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Thank you all for being here. Remember, this program airs every Sunday at 1 p.m., or you can read about it in next week's paper in the transcript. That's all for now. Bye-bye. We'll see you next week.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.